In the previous video, I showed you guys how I turned about 170 bucks into a gaming PC and then sold it for profit. I listed that PC for 400 bucks, which I do admit was a bit ambitious, but I ended up selling it on Craigslist for full asking price. So, with 400 bucks in hand, it's time to see what I can put together and make in return.
Alrighty guys, so it's been a few days since I actually sold the PC, and now I'm just looking for some deals. That day was the last day of like Newegg's like Black Friday. I think it was Cyber Monday. Their continuation of their deals, and I got two cases, two DIY PC cases, tempered glass. I think it has a fairly decent intake for 30 bucks a pop. I got two. I'm gonna try and build three PCs this time around, but we'll see how that goes. But I'm just looking on OfferUp right now. I have two motherboards actually. I have one Dell Optiplex 790 board with an i5 2400, and I think 8 gigs of RAM that a friend just gave to me for free. So I don't know if I really want to use that motherboard because it'll be difficult to get working with regular front panel connectors and anything, but that could be a potential use case of one of these systems. So I have some deals here. I also have a AM3 Plus motherboard, I believe, and I found this 6100 for only 10 bucks plus $3 shipping. You guys will notice that I don't do a lot of local meetups. It's just kind of inconvenient for me because I can't really drive myself around. But there's still a lot of deals to be had online because on sites like OfferUp, they offer shipping. And there's also Mercari as well, which they only ship, of course. But this I might get. I don't know if I want to build an FX system, but we'll see how that goes. And I'm more so concerned about just getting like graphics cards, power supplies, and all of that. It may be difficult to build three systems from the ground up. I found this HP Z workstation, it's still $200 though, so it'll be rough finding a graphics card. But it has an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gigabyte hard drive, got a decent power supply, I would hope. But I'm not entirely sure. There was this 380, but it got sold almost instantly. At this point though, I have about like $300 to work with because I spent $60 on the case. Well, a little bit more than 300, but that's my budget for hopefully three computers, though we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to get anything right now. I'm kind of just looking around and planning, but I really do have to jump on some deals if needed because this 380 would have been really good for, I don't know, maybe the i5 system if I maybe got a different motherboard, but that just shows that there's people that are actually like active on some of these sites. So if you want to get a good deal, you have to just be searching around very frequently, and if you're not quick enough, it will get sold. Some things I don't like is that if you message a seller asking if it's still available and then you just sell it anyway. But anyways, when I keep looking around, I don't know if I'm going to get anything right now, but I'm just going to start some planning and hopefully I can figure out what I'm going to do for the three systems if I do end up with three. So I'll keep you guys updated, but for now I'm going to keep searching for deals and see what I can find. Alrighty guys, so I think I've spent all of my budget on computer parts obviously, and I think I'll only be building one PC because yeah, I think I just spent more than I anticipated, and yeah, I will have some parts for the next build or builds, but let's just go over what I've gotten. So I found this R9 380 4GB on Mercari. I got it for 50 bucks, as you can see here. I think it has like some overheating issues, so hopefully a repaste will fix that. I don't know the extent to what that problem is, but hopefully I can figure that out. And I got another graphics card. Again, might not have been this best option, but costs I think around like 70 bucks, $73. It says RX 480, and the seller said that I think he was using it for mining or something, and that it just didn't show that it was mining. But I'm hopeful that's because it's not using a mining BIOS, so it could actually be perfectly fine for gaming, because he was using a actual mining OS as well. So there's hopefully some potential there. It hasn't been opened actually, so we can obviously assume that it hasn't been tampered with. So for power supply, I got this 600 watt Seasonic unit. I offered 15, the seller accepted. This cost me about $33. So yeah, that is not actually what used up all of my budget, but this will be in the main system, of course. Now I plan to use this 480 amp power supply in the Lenovo PC I bought off of a friend. A friend of mine, he said he had a computer that he just hasn't been using at all. It's been sitting in his closet. And I asked him if he wanted to sell it, so He gave me, I gave him $100 for it. I think I got a pretty good deal for it actually. It has an i5 6400, 8 gigs of RAM. It's a single stick though, unfortunately. The power supply would have been nice to use, but it does use some proprietary connectors. And whenever I throw in a graphics card, it'll be absolutely perfect for some gaming. I forgot to mention that I also got some SSDs for this lot. It cost me a little over $30, which I think was a pretty solid deal because usually 128GB SSDs go for around $20. So yeah, that I'll use one in the main system I'm building now, and I can use another one later. I do have another SSD I can definitely use, but this is this. So yeah, I don't have mass storage, unfortunately. Again, I've used up basically all of my budget. There's nothing left. So hopefully, I don't know, I'm going to try and figure something out. Maybe I can sell something. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty solid for what I'm going to use it for. Again, it has 6400, 8 gigs of RAM, and that's DDR4, of course. The motherboard will work absolutely fine. I have an adapter, so I can use it with a standard power supply, the 600-watt Seasonic unit. This is definitely not what I planned at all. My intent was to build multiple PCs, but that's just what happens whenever you get a little too excited when it comes to what you're buying. I spent $60 on 2 cases, which I'm probably not even going to use in this case. I'm probably just going to use the Lenovo case. It looks decent in my opinion. So with that being said, I guess I just need to wait for all the parts to come in, and we'll see if we can get a PC running and list it for sale. Alrighty, so today the SSDs that I ordered came in. I have this kind of chunky Kingston 128GB SSD, and there's this other one, I think it's from Samsung. I don't really see any obvious brand. It does say Samsung right there, but this is also 128GB. So for $30, this is a pretty good value, given it would have cost me a little over $40 to get 2. But anyway, let's go over my plans for this system. Now, I've basically spent all of my money, and unfortunately, I did not get a hard drive, so I need to figure something out before I get this sold, obviously, but that may be an issue. Other than that, though, I plan on putting the RX 480 that I got off of eBay. I am hoping that that works. It seems to be that it wasn't working as a mining card, but I don't really know the extent to what the issue is, if any. So hopefully that will work here. And for RAM, this only has a 1 8GB stick, so I might swap that for 2 4GB sticks, or I'll somehow get another 8GB stick. Again, I'm out of budget. So yeah, I don't really want to run it in a single channel. For performance, realistically, it's not going to affect gaming or anything like that very significantly, but it'd just be nicer to be in dual channel anyway. As for the CPU, I'm going to repaste it. This cooler should be perfectly fine for the CPU. I'm also going to swap this FSB power supply. It is a decent brand, obviously, but at 250 watts will not cut it for even a 1050 Ti, so that'll have to go. I might use it for a bench power supply. But other than that, I'm just going to clean this all up, and it should be good to go, really. It also has built-in Wi-Fi. I'm going to keep that in here, probably. My friend also threw in this USB and a FireWire expansion card. I might take that out and use it in another build. We'll see. So with all that being said, I want to go over my plans on how I plan on flipping this PC and my plans on building the next 2 or so. So once I flip this, I'm going to use only some of the money made to put together at least 2 budget systems, and then I can combine that with the rest of the cash, and that'll probably help with making some more profit. Because this time around, I will make some profit, but it's not going to be as much if I just build like 1 or 2 PCs out of the entirety of this. So right now, I can't really do anything because the parts are still on their way. There's also a lot of delays with various shipping services. So what I'm thinking of doing now is I'm gonna just clean all of this, get it ready. I might put one of these SSDs in just for whatever. I still need to get a hard drive. Like I said, I've used all of the $400 that I made from the previous flip. But yeah, right now I'm just gonna clean this all down, think about how I'm going to get a hard drive, and we can go on from there.
So it's been a while since I first started putting this build together, but it's finally complete. The RX 480 works just fine, but one thing I noticed was that when I tried cleaning the heatsink, I've never seen this before, but some white residue appeared all over it. No matter what I did, it kept appearing. It shouldn't affect performance as I looked into this issue, and it's mainly a cosmetic defect. The graphics card also barely cleared the memory slots. If the backplate were any larger, it simply wouldn't fit, so I'm glad that worked out. I did get a hard drive, but it was packed very poorly. It seemed to be dying, so I got a WD Black for around 20 bucks, and it's been working just fine. I also ended up frying the Ethernet port as I wanted to try and wire up an LED strip so it would glow through the front. I didn't isolate my connections and it shorted out, smoke and all, but luckily everything seems to be okay. I bought a cheap HP PCI Express network adapter and disabled the onboard network interface. I messed around with drivers on Windows 10 and I eventually got stuff like the multi-card reader to function properly. I benchmarked a few games and this PC seems to be capable of playing most titles at 60 frames per second. The CPU is definitely the weakest link here as it's only 4 cores and 4 threads and doesn't turbo very high. The 480 could definitely go higher in frame rate, but I found that generally all of the games that I tested had more consistent frame rates when capped at 60. The 0.1% lows weren't the best. There were some frame dips and spikes, like in Warzone, going through more crowded areas, lowered the frame rate just a tad, but the experience at 60 FPS was still very solid. Besides Fortnite and Rocket League where I used more competitive settings, Warzone and Apex defaulted to generally higher settings and ran great. One more thing I'd like to touch on is the power supply situation. The S12 arrived in great condition and runs very well. I did have to steal a dual 6-pin to 8-pin adapter that I had lying around as there were no 8-pin PCI Express power connectors. The weird thing about this board is that even when you power it down, things like the power supply fan and optical drive will still be running. The 10-pin to 24-pin adapter isn't mainly the issue, but I think that since this motherboard and original power supply only has 12 volts, usually you have your 12, 5, and 3.3, even when the PC is in that soft off state, which is just a state that it's in before you turn on your PC, there's a higher level of power still at this state just due to how the board is designed. The solution is just to turn off the power supply every time the PC is shut down. This is a bit annoying, but hopefully the next owner is okay with doing this. Anyways, I hope this held this config for I'm thinking 650, though realistically maybe like 550 or lower. I'll put the final tally on what I ended up getting, but I've definitely learned that I need to be careful on my spending. I do have a few parts that I set aside for the next few builds, but I probably would have been better off just not spending that money and saving it for later. I'm still happy with what I was able to put together, but now it's time to put the PC on the market and see how it sells. I haven't done any sort of modifications cosmetically, so this will probably take a while to get sold. Stay tuned for the next video as I'm hopefully going to try and build more systems. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments section and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you did enjoy the video, hit that like button, but if not, you know where to go. While you're there, consider subscribing to the channel and enable notifications for more quality tech videos. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.